Have you ever felt like lust is controlling your every move? That a beautiful woman can walk into a room and suddenly your thoughts aren't your own anymore? You forget your focus, your purpose, sometimes even your self-respect? You're not alone. Most men have felt this, but very few understand just how deep it goes or how much it can cost. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how lust can destroy a man. And more importantly, how you can rise above it and become a man every woman respects, admires, and chooses. Lust is one of the oldest instincts in a man's DNA. Its job? To ensure survival of the species. Its trigger: a glance, a smile, a silhouette, and suddenly, your heart is beating faster. But here's the truth. Lust doesn't discriminate. Left unchecked, it can turn into obsession. It can drive a man to make impulsive, irrational decisions.
Think about that late-night text you sent when you felt lonely, or that moment you ignored boundaries because the desire felt too strong. That's lust, a force that can overwhelm judgment and cloud reason. Why does this happen? Let's dive into the biology. Lust is a chemical storm. When you're exposed to an attractive person, your brain floods with dopamine, the pleasure molecule. Meanwhile, testosterone and adrenaline spike, making you bold, impulsive, and aggressive. But here's the kicker. The prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain that governs discipline and restraint, goes quiet. In that moment, lust is calling the shots. This is why men can lose themselves for a moment, only to feel ashamed or guilty later. It's biology overriding intention. And when repeated over and over, through porn, one-night stands, meaningless flings, this cycle rewires the brain, making lust an addiction. Imagine going from being a confident, decisive man to a man distracted by every short skirt, every picture online. Sound familiar? Look around. It's everywhere. The guy scrolling endlessly on social media, consuming images that never satisfy. The man checking out every woman that walks by, hoping for a glance. The boyfriend who cheats, chasing a new thrill. The husband who can't focus on his wife anymore because lust has turned intimacy into routine. Lust doesn't just live in moments. It infiltrates careers, relationships, families. Have you noticed? The more a man gives in, the weaker he becomes. The more he feels like a slave to desire. And worst of all, the more women notice it too. Here's an inconvenient truth. Women have evolved to sense desperation. A man chasing every glance, staring too long, making inappropriate comments, she feels it instantly. To her, this man is not a protector, not a partner. He's a boy with no discipline. Why? Because women seek strength, emotional strength, mental strength, and the ability to say no when needed. A man dominated by lust has no boundaries, no purpose, no focus. But a man who can admire beauty without being a prisoner to it, that man commands respect. That man attracts deeper trust, stronger connections, and genuine loyalty. Lust doesn't just affect your relationships, it damages you. Men who give in too easily experience guilt, low self-esteem, and feelings of inadequacy. They compare themselves endlessly. Over time, lust can evolve into addiction, porn, cheating, or chasing meaningless encounters. The results? Broken trust, fractured relationships, an obsession with superficial connections. Even more, lust kills motivation. It replaces discipline with instant gratification, making long-term goals harder to achieve. Have you ever felt drained after indulging in lust? That's your body and mind telling you this path only leads to emptiness. Lust doesn't just affect your brain and body, it affects your spirit. Throughout history, ancient texts, spiritual leaders, and philosophers have warned about lust's corrupting nature. Why? Because when lust takes the throne, it removes integrity from a man's heart. A man controlled by lust can't fully connect with others, not in friendship, not in love, not in intimacy. He becomes disconnected from himself, chasing a high that only leaves him feeling smaller, weaker, and more alone. And if you think about it, no woman, no matter how beautiful, can respect a man who doesn't respect himself. Here's the paradox. Lust is not your enemy. It's energy, pure, raw, primal energy. The question is, how will you use it? Will it control you? Or will you harness it? A man who masters lust doesn't kill it, he transforms it. He uses that energy to build, to create a better body, a stronger mindset, a deeper purpose. He becomes magnetic, a man that others respect, a man women notice for all the right reasons. Because women don't fall for lust, they fall for strength, they fall for discipline, they fall for mastery. Look at the two types of men you've met in your life. One man is always distracted, always chasing, always hungry. He can't focus, he can't commit, he can't build. The other, calm, grounded. He doesn't ogle, he doesn't fidget, he doesn't flinch. He chooses where to invest his energy. His gaze doesn't wander. He doesn't need validation from every woman he meets. Which man do you respect? Which one do women remember? Which one do you want to be? Here's a fact many men miss. Women notice discipline. They notice how a man enters a room, how he talks, how he treats others. A man who can control lust creates trust. He creates a sense of safety, emotional and physical. Women crave that. They crave a man who can feel desire but doesn't become its prisoner. Why? Because that's the mark of a true man. A man who can rise above instinct. A man who chooses honor over impulse. That's the man women want to walk beside. The man who doesn't need her, but chooses her. Mastering lust doesn't mean ignoring desire. It means aligning it with purpose. The long-term benefits? Deeper, more meaningful relationships. Stronger focus and clarity in work and life. Higher self-respect and emotional resilience. Greater trust and intimacy with a partner. A magnetic, attractive presence that draws respect from men and admiration from women. A man who has conquered lust has conquered himself. And that's the greatest victory any man can achieve. Here's how you'll know it's working. She doesn't test your boundaries as much because she knows you have strong ones. She looks at you with trust and warmth, knowing you're grounded and present. She chooses to open up, knowing you're someone she can respect. Other men notice and admire your discipline, making you a natural leader. A man who is in control of lust doesn't just win the moment. He wins a lifetime of respect, trust, and meaningful connections. Remember this, a man ruled by lust becomes a boy forever chasing the next thrill. He trades discipline for addiction, honor for guilt, strength through desperation. He may have moments of pleasure, but never moments of fulfillment. And women notice. They sense the restlessness, the desperation. They walk away from such a man, no matter how good-looking or wealthy he may be. Why? Because lust is a signal of weakness. And no woman with self-respect chooses weakness for a lifetime. Today, you have a choice. Will you continue to be a prisoner of lust, or will you rise above it? Will you walk into a room knowing your worth? Will you build trust, focus, and strength? Will you transform lust from an addiction into a force that drives your growth? The greatest men in history weren't defined by their lust. They were defined by their discipline, their purpose, their integrity. And in this world, where every image and every app is designed to manipulate your instinct, the man who can control himself is the rarest and most valuable man of all. A man who masters lust attracts a different kind of woman. A woman who values respect over superficial attention. A woman who feels safe, seen, and cherished. A woman who chooses him, not because she can manipulate him, but because she can respect him. That's the secret. That's the reward. Master lust, and you rise to a higher level of life. You become the man that every woman and every man can admire. If this video spoke to you, don't just click away. Take a moment, reflect, decide. Will you be a man defined by lust or one defined by discipline? If you're ready to evolve, like this video, subscribe to DecodeHer, and share it with every man who needs to hear this. Because a strong man doesn't kill lust. He masters it, he transforms it, and that's how he wins in life, in love, and in himself. The choice is yours. Make it count.